his mouth slurring what she suspected were meant to be sexy words. His jaw ticked in frustration when she only stared blankly. He was hard when she settled over his lap, and she counted down the seconds as a lick of warmth went through her. Moira would have been impressed were this a different situation. His eyes blinked slower. A look of confusion crossed his face. His hands settled on her hips, but before he could utter another word, his head listed back as he fell unconscious. It was silent for exactly 6 seconds before the door burst open, a chorus of exclamations hurting her ears.
"What the fuck? Why are you on top of him? I thought we had an agreement."
Moira raised a hand, effectively cutting off the protests as she tried to explain herself.
"Don't look at me like that. It was the only way to get him out of the bar. If I hadn't, he would have drank himself to death."
She crossed her arms over her chest, wishing for a sweater to cover up with. All three of them knew she wasn't Mori, but as their gazes traced the exposed flesh in her skimpy dress, she wondered if they needed a reminder. Walker was the first to speak as he took off his jacket and offered it to her.
"I know, but you can't run off like that."
"Fine. Next time I'll let him give himself alcohol poisoning and we can question him from the hospital room."
The words came out gritted with the effort to rein in her anger. Kai approached, picking the man up from the bed and carting him from the room without a single word.
"Hopefully this will be the last time. We've tracked down everyone you could think of at this point."
"I know." Her gaze fell to the floor and she left the room. When she reached the van, she jumped in the middle seat, meeting Kai's icy orbs in the rearview mirror. She turned her head before he could speak. This damn well better be the last time. Moira was tired of seducing men in bars and having to question them. Yeah, she got her fair share of free drinks, but it was exhausting. 3 months of searching dead ends would do that to you. A sigh, teeming with exhaustion, left Moira as she sat on the bed, finding comfort in the familiar surroundings, regardless if they were not her own. Even after 3 months, she did not claim ownership of the room set aside for her specifically. Steady footsteps and constant murmurs from the warehouse filtered through the door, but she took comfort in that too. Anything sounded better than the silence in her own head. Their head. Whatever. A shower did not make her feel better, but it was still a relief to erase the lingering smoke stench. New clothes did little else, although the snug leggings were much cozier than the slut dress. A long-sleeved mauve shirt was paired with the leggings, and Moira sighed again at the image she made. It was all wrong, and she turned from the mirror before she became sick. Red curls? Check. Gray eyes? Check. But they were not her curls, nor her eyes staring back when she met her own reflection. It was as nauseating as it was confusing. A pair of runners fit over her small feet, and she stretched lightly, shaking her hands and throwing the rest of the evening off through the tips of her fingers. Tilting her head from side to side helped loosen the knot at the base of her neck. Maybe food would help the rest. Food helped with everything. The sweeter the better. With a deep breath for never-ending courage, she left the bedroom and went to face her demons. The demons in question were gathered around the large circular dining table at the other end of the warehouse. Their heads were crammed together, low voices murmuring in a debate from what she could tell at the mouth of the hallway. The table was grand enough to fit 12 people if desired, but there were never enough agents around to fill it at once. Will Jareth get a bigger table when BCS is at full force again? As it was now, they were still attempting to contact those who'd gone into hiding after 6 men destroyed their prior headquarters. They had tripled their numbers the past 3 months, so order was slowly coming together again. Jareth and Selena were still stretched thin, but the new HQ was thriving. The guys fell silent when she reached the table, and she ignored the darkness in their eyes. They weren't angry with her, she didn't think. Well, Kai was. Kai was always angry, though, and Moira was certain it was just a personality trait at this point. Levi stared almost too hard at her, as if willing Mori to come out. His green eyes focused on her as she leaned in. "What are we conspiring today?" she asked, ignoring the multitude of emotions aimed in her direction. A long pause, like a sigh erasing the